Welcome to the 2019 General Election Candidates Forum for Kansas City, Kansas and Wyandotte County. I am Merle Bland with Business West. Business West and Kansas City, Kansas Community College are the sponsors of this forum. Let me introduce the panelists who will ask questions of the candidates. They are Mary Rupert, the editor of the Wyandotte Daily Online, Herb White, a retired U.S. Postal Service employee and a community volunteer, and Deborah DeCoster, a reporter with the Kansas City Hispanic News. Candidates will have 1.5 minutes for opening remarks. Then panelists will ask questions. Candidates will have 2 minutes to respond. Panelists will have the right to ask follow-up questions. Candidates will have 1 minute for closing remarks. Please understand this is not a debate. Candidates are urged to focus on the issues. The forum is being taped for playback on the college's public access channels. We will start with opening remarks and begin with Melissa Bynum.
Good evening. My name's Melissa Bynum. I'm running for re-election to the Unified Government At-Large District 1 seat. I'm happy to be here tonight. I want to thank Kansas City, Kansas Community College and Business West for hosting us. I'm asking to be returned to office. I'm asking for your vote on November 5th. I've sincerely enjoyed the time that I've spent serving as an at-large commissioner for Wyandotte County, and I feel like together with my fellow commissioners and our mayor, we've gotten quite a bit done for Wyandotte County over these last 4 years. We continue to look at ways to lower our mill levy rate. In 3 consecutive years, we were able to lower the mill levy rate by 6 mills on the city side of your tax statement. We continuously conduct community surveys every other year so that we can get feedback on benefits and how we're doing with community services, both on the city and the county side, so that we can then use those survey results for budgeting and strategic planning purposes. Those are also producing results, and we're listening to what the community is asking us to do, such as increased spending on street maintenance and infrastructure. We continue to look at economic development opportunities across the entire county, and I'm really proud to have been deeply involved in the Northeast Area Master Planning process, which engaged hundreds, if not thousands, of residents in the Northeast area to help them determine the future for that part of our community and begin redevelopment and reinvestment in that really vital area of Wyandotte County. So I've enjoyed very much my service in my first term, and I do look forward to taking the questions, and most importantly, I look forward to your vote and your support on November 5th. Thank you.
Angela?
Microphone pass here. I am Angela Markley, running for re-election in District 6, which covers Turner and part of Argentine. During my term in office, I focused heavily on neighborhood-level issues, particularly blight reduction and code-related items, leading to the formation of the SOAR program, which is a set of interdepartmental goals and policy changes meant to really improve the look, feel, safety, and marketability of the neighborhoods we live in. You can track all of those goals on the My Sidewalk website, but for purposes of my minute and a half, suffice it to say that we've done a lot, but there's a lot left to do, and I look forward to shepherding that program through the coming years. I've also focused on transparency through data-driven decision-making and goals within departments that help us to track and manage the items we're putting before staff for completion. That includes our community survey that goes out every 2 years, our strategic planning as a commission, which happens twice a year, and the extension of our budget schedule to allow for additional time for comment and analysis by the public and commissioners before budget decisions are made. None of that was in place when I came into office. We have lowered the mill levy, but I recognize that many of our community members haven't felt that impact in their wallet due to the corresponding increase in property values. So I look forward to continuing efforts to lower the mill levy until we see real tax relief for our residents. I have spent my whole life in Turner, and it's been an amazing experience and just a great opportunity to represent the people of Argentine and Turner. I hope I can count on your vote November 5th. Thanks so much.
Jorge?
Good evening. Thank you, KCKCC and staff for having us here today. Name's Jorge Flores, born and raised here in Wyandotte County. I'm a former graduate of Wyandotte High School and this college, KCKCC, former graduate of University of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a former police officer with Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, served for 9 years. After I left the police department, I started my own financial practice and real estate services. During that time, I wanted to do as much as I could. My overall goal is to really empower and enhance the quality of life of our residents in our community. I want to break the barrier that we currently don't have representation in my community. That is one of my goals. I believe that everyone deserves a voice, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm running. I currently serve on the board of El Centro Inc. and Black Excellence KC. My goal is to continue serving our community, whether elected or not, and I'm excited to continue working with our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Harold?
Good evening. I am Harold Johnson. I am the incumbent commissioner for the 4th District of the Unified Government. I've lived in the 4th District for nearly 50 years. My family has been in Wyandotte County for 4 generations, and so I'm very thankful to have this opportunity to serve as the commissioner for the 4th District. I'm a graduate of Sumner Academy, and I also started my college career here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. So I appreciate them for opening the doors tonight, and also Maryland Business West for having us here for this forum. Spent 22 years in the banking industry, working particularly with nonprofit organizations and focusing in on unique financing options that have constructed and or provided financing for acquisition of some of the metropolitan areas better known nonprofit organizations. And I saw a real opportunity to use those skills at the unified government, and that's the reason I ran, because I wanted to see development in a district that had not to date had real development for some decades. Since my time in office, we've been able to develop a strategy, as already has been mentioned, for the Northeast area, one that took quite a bit of time to get it done. But as a result of that, I'm proud to be able to say that we have the first area master plan that is devoted to Northeast Wyandotte County ever, and that's the first that we've ever seen. It was unanimously approved by the commission. And part of that also includes the first affordable housing development that is going on right now called the Boulevard Lofts. It's about a $12 million investment in Northeast. It's the first housing, multi-housing, mixed income housing development that we've seen in decades. And so we are thankful for the things that we've brought. There's a lot of work that remains. The template that has been established for the Northeast Master Plan works and is being utilized as a template for other master plans. And so I'm grateful for the distance that we've come, but we've got a long way to go. I certainly would hope that you would, and ask that you would remember my name, Harold Johnson, for candidate for County Commissioner for District Number 4. Thank you.
Ann?
Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking everyone that organized this event tonight, and I appreciate the invitation. My name is Ann Branda Murguia. I am currently the 3rd District Commissioner. I am originally from a small town in Iowa. I moved here approximately 20 years ago, and I got here as fast as I could. I've enjoyed my stay here in Wyandotte County, and I think under my leadership and with the help of a lot of people, businesses, organizations, and residences, we've had a lot of success. Our focus has been on economic development, public safety, and constituent neighborhood services. I could point to a number of projects. I'm sure those will get addressed through the questions. So I'll focus tonight on my resume and my introduction. I have a unique background in education. I have an undergraduate degree in human services, which is much like social welfare. So it's dealing with some of the most disenfranchised people in our community. Yet I have a master's degree in business. And I really accredit that education to the success that we've been able to have in an urban core district in Wyandotte County. Those projects that we've worked on have been sustainable because of my business background and sustainable because they've been able to connect very closely and dearly with the people of greatest need. So again, I appreciate being invited. I look forward to the upcoming election on November the 5th, and I hope you vote Ann Brandaw Murguia.
Christian?
Good evening. Thank you to Business West for hosting, and also Kansas City, Kansas Community College. It was not that long ago that I was here before I transferred over to UMKC. Loved the school. It was amazing, and it was a good experience being here, and I loved having a strong community college in our county. I'm a lifelong resident of the district. I lived in Rosedale till I was 5, and then my family made the short trek over to Argentine, where we continue to live. Me and my dad and my mom, we've lived in the same house since I was 5. So that's awesome. My parents have made sure that I've had stability. And, I'm my grandfather. We're an immigrant family. My grandfather came over from Mexico, and he helped give back to his community. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm running, is to give back to my community, to ensure that everyone in the district and everyone in the community is getting the services. We have come a long way. We have come a long way from where we have, but now I think we're at a place where we can focus on other things. And the two biggest things that I want to work on is rebuilding our sense of community and creating more youth programs. For my job, for 5 years, I work at the Johnson County Parks and Recreation Department. I work in an after-school care program. And now I am an assistant director, so every day I see what youth programs can do for a community, how they enhance a child's ability to be an effective adult when they grow up. They have that opportunity to grow. And that's what I hope to bring. So on November 5th, please remember Chris Ramirez for County Commissioner.
Now we'll turn to the panelists for questions and start with Mary Rupert. And she will begin with a question for Christian.
Thank you. If you were on the commission today, would you be in favor of an agreement with a new owner of the Village West baseball team? And what are your thoughts about what the UG should do about the debt that the T-Bones owes the UG and BPU?
That is a very good question. Thank you for that question. I don't really understand how we've allowed a business to rack up such a debt with the BP or the BPU. It's about I heard from the last forum with the BPU candidates, it's $374,000 that they've not been able to pay back. But yet their services have remained on. And if you're a private citizen, you're $1.60 short and your services are cut. It's not fair. It's not equal representation. So I think as commissioners, or if I was a commissioner, we don't have much say over what the BPU does, but what we do as direct representatives of the people is ensure that every policy in this county is fair and treats everyone and levels the playing field between business and the people.
Ann, your response?
Can you repeat the question, Mary?
Yes. Well, you are a commissioner, so are you in favor of an agreement with a new owner of the Village West baseball team? And what are your thoughts about what the UG should do about the debt that the T-Bones owes the UG and BPU?
Well, to answer that question really depends on all of the details. So I would tell you, absolutely, I'm in favor of a new owner of owning a baseball team in Wyandotte County. I want to continue to see the T-Bone Stadium flourish. But I am not in agreement with the unified government paying the bills for failed businesses, especially when it comes at the expense of taxpayers, especially when it comes to the fact that residents are treated significantly different than large corporations. I am not in favor of footing the bill for large corporations off the backs of our residents.
Harold, your response?
Certainly, I think it's time to look at trying to bring a new team in. I think that the debts that were encumbered by the existing or the former owners now, we should pursue legal action to try to obtain and recoup those funds. It's already been stated that there's inequity in terms of the way that the situation was handled, but I think that the debt that is owed was that which was incurred by the last ownership team, and I think that we should pursue legal ramifications to try to obtain those funds from those persons that racked up that bill.
Okay. Jorge, your response?
I think that when it comes to a new owner, we really have to look at the qualifications of a new owner. Just like when someone purchases a home, they've got to go through lots of underwriting processes in order to see if you qualify, if you have the funds, and if you even have enough funds to maintain the property for an extended amount of time if you're unable to make a payment. So we need to have some compassion here with the people here in Wyandotte County because they've been voicing this concern for over a long time, and we've allowed this debt to grow. It's been a long time, a lot of thousands, and now we're to the point where they've had no options but to completely shut the place down, and it shouldn't take an eviction to get these people out or wait so long for there to be some kind of change, because if it was anyone else, if it was my house, your house, you'd be out, and your utilities would be cut.
Angela?
So it's no secret at this point that there is an agenda item on our agenda to discuss an agreement that's before us. And as several people have stated, we need to look at the details of that agreement. And what we shouldn't do is impute the problems with the former owner onto this new potential owner. So if it's a good deal and it's a good agreement and it looks like the right thing to do for this county so that we can continue to have baseball here and the income that that baseball generates, not just at the stadium, but at surrounding businesses, then I think we move forward with that deal. That's separate from us pursuing legal action against the former owner who owes money to this government and to these people. So I haven't read all the details of that agreement yet. The agenda just came out today. I'm looking forward to reviewing those details, but what's important, I think, for the commission is to make sure that the new deal doesn't leave us in the same position as the old one does, that it puts us in a better position, that it puts the taxpayers in the right position, and then that we pursue legal action separately against that separate party, and don't impute those sort of negative feelings toward this new business owner who might be an amazing business owner who pays all of his bills.
Melissa?
Commissioner Merkley has really, I think, hit the nail on the head with this one, and we can't prejudge or pre-decide an agenda item that's coming in front of us on Thursday night. But we can read through the details of the potential agreement with a new owner of the baseball team, and certainly if it's a good deal for the community and a good deal for Wyandotte County, we can support that. And also, we must pursue the legal remedies that we have at hand for the debts that are owed by the former owner, should we in fact vote on Thursday to allow a new ownership for the T-Bones baseball team. Thank you.
Our next question will come from Deborah, and we'll start with Melissa.
The SOAR initiative program, are there agencies or organizations out there that can help residents who have issues with their homes or properties when they need to clean it up or fix their house up, but they don't have the money to do so? Is there agencies out there that can help people so that they can stay in Wyandotte County, get the property fixed up, And would they face a fine with the code enforcement? I know some residents are afraid that they're going to be told what they can and can't do in their yards, and they're not happy with that. So I wanted to see if you could address some of those.
Sure, it's a big question. We have a lot of residents who have a difficult time financially or physically being able to complete the kinds of repairs or life, health, and safety issues that have been identified through SOAR or just through code enforcement activity. There are some resources available to either lower income, disabled, or older residents in the community. They are not widespread. However, I happen to work for a nonprofit agency that does just that for older adults. And more than once a week through the nonprofit that I work for outside of my commission job, we are getting a request from someone who's been given a codes violation. So I happen to work with that on a daily basis. In addition, there are funds through our community development department for folks who qualify for certain issues around, again, life, health, and safety. So it's not just anything, but it could be a roof or an electrical issue. So through the federal government providing dollars, HUD dollars to our community development department, there are some remedies available to homeowners that way. Also, we've got a really strong system of neighborhood groups and neighborhood organizations, and they work really well together in partnership, helping to solve problems like that for residents. And we see it in action all the time across the community. I don't know that there's a pot of money big enough to solve all of the issues that homeowners might have in Wyandotte County in terms of being able to complete the repairs they need on their homes when they might not be able to afford to do them. But we certainly are trying to tie together a network of those providers so that if one can't do a needed repair, others might be able to, or they might be able to team up and collaborate, which is the way that I've gotten a lot of work done through my very small nonprofit.
Angela?
So Commissioner Bynum addressed a lot of the available services that are out there, and I'm not going to rehash that. That list, I think, was fairly complete as to what is out there that where you might be able to find assistance. Community policing is really good about making those connections, as are some of our codes officers. What I would say to residents who have perhaps gotten a citation is that, in my experience, those people that get a citation and they make contact with codes and they show some good faith effort that they're trying to get something done, that they want to get something done, are almost always going to meet with sympathy and with, how can I help you? Let's try to get this done. What I see a lot of times is someone gets the citation and they just throw it in the trash. And so then they get a second citation and they get a third citation and they never contact anyone. And then the impression for our codes officer is they don't care and they have no intention of correcting it. So my advice to a person that gets a citation that, I mean, maybe it's a big one, it's a roof repair or something that's really expensive and huge, and they know that their budget doesn't allow for that this season, make that contact, have that discussion. Our staff wants to work with you to resolve the issue, because the point isn't to get a fine out of our residents, the point is to get the issue resolved. So I would just encourage people to make contact with the codes officer, use that citation and make contact via the number that you see there. Don't let it sit around until codes has made an assumption about your willingness to make a change.
Jorge?
So I think it begins with talking to your representative. There's different forms that we can answer this or respond to citizens in the community when they have issues with housing. Number one is talk to your representative, figure out a way, see if they can help you with government resources. Some people don't always have all the details as to what the government can offer them, or if they have any other opportunities that they can offer them. And if you can't do that, we outsource and we find another solution. I think one of the things out there is that we begin, or government or representatives may just continue to just ignore individuals out there when they're continuing to voice concerns or issues that they have with their premises. It doesn't mean that we do them all at once, but little progress is some progress. I will tell you that I've been contacted by several individuals out there ever since I started my campaign, and we've been working really hard with individuals. We haven't asked government of nothing. We just ask other people. We outsource, and we get things done. It's the way to do it. I believe that as representatives, we're elected to represent people, and we can't ignore them, especially their concerns. So I would tell you that probably the best solution when it comes to the SOAR program, if the government doesn't have them, as a representative, we find a solution, and we get it done.
Harold?
Thank you. I think that this issue has been pretty much addressed, but I think that the taxpayer needs to be proactive in reaching out to organizations and to their representatives, as it's already stated. Sometimes it takes a neighborhood, and some neighborhoods, matter of fact, right now are 501c. They have a 501c3 designation already, and they are already available, or at a point where they can request funds from different sources. And so, if you're part of a neighborhood, you should reach out to your neighborhood captain and see if you can pull together, along with your commissioner. It's going to just take a cobbling together of funds. Some might be philanthropic, some might be through the state, some might be through the UG, as already has been stated. But it takes initiative by the homeowner and communication with the codes department. And I believe that if you take that first step and you're initiating a connection and engagement with that person, if you don't get what you're looking for the first time, you have to continue on. These are some of the things that I've had to deal with as a taxpayer before I was elected, and I found out that the old expression is that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And so as I continue to reach out to my representatives, to the police department, to community policing, to my neighborhood, eventually we were able to find a solution that addressed the issues that I was dealing with. So I would encourage all taxpayers, all neighbors that are in Wyandotte County to reach out to every department and all of your representatives, whether it be at the UG or if it's at BPU, wherever it might be. Reach out and continue to reach out until you get satisfaction with that.
Ann?
Thank you. So first, I'd like to say all of the previous answers, I believe, were excellent and very accurate, and it's what I've experienced in my district. I just add a couple of words of advice for those that are listening that may have potential code violations, that roofs don't go bad overnight, railings don't fall off of the front of porches overnight, and paint doesn't deteriorate overnight. So if you currently are in a home that has some issues that eventually are going to need attention or repair, that you get in front of that and you be proactive with those before codes even knocks on your door. And as District 3 Commissioner, I would encourage all of you that have those kinds of upcoming issues, and you know that it's going to be a financial stress or strain, and you are disconnected from churches, not-for-profits, Christmas in October, the UG Emergency Abatement Program, that is exactly why I am here in District 3, that you can call me directly. I can connect you with a number of services that are out there to help you with those kinds of issues.
Christian?
Kind of going off to what Commissioner Johnson was getting to was the neighborhood associations. Those are very important organizations that are part of our community that we need to be working with them and giving them the resources that they need. Just this Sunday, I was door knocking in Frank Rushton neighborhood, and I met a man. He had been living in the district in Rosedale for about 20 years, and he said he absolutely loved the Development Association and the Neighborhood Association in Rosedale, where he lived. He said that they have a community shed where the community puts tools for anyone that needs it. If you need a clippers, if you need a lawnmower, you can rent it out, bring it back so that it provides for the community. And he said he loved that. And he would love to see that in all around Wyandotte County. He said they worked with the neighborhood association, and they were able to get signs that are going to be put in the Frank Rushton neighborhood area saying that they're a neighborhood watch group, and that if anything suspicious were to happen, that they will call the police. They said that's working with the community, and the SOAR initiative I think, is a very good program that we need to continue to build, but also give our neighborhood associations the resources to help work with them to get the SOAR program and to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to have a good-looking neighborhood. Because that's what he loved about the district. He said it was a beautiful district, very welcoming, very warm, and he said he would not want to move, and that he's happy where he is. And so we need to work with our neighborhood associations.
Next, we'll turn to Herb White for a question, and we will start with Christian.
Well, one thing that's on a lot of the residents' mind, brought up earlier tonight, and I know you probably had a lot of questions about it, is our pilot program. You know where I'm going. As the payment in lieu of taxes, as the franchise tax. The franchise tax for private sector utilities, such as Atmos Energy, is 5%. Our pilot program is 12%. What can we do about that? Is there an answer to that? What can we do about to put us on a level playing field with the other communities around?
That's a very good question, and it's a lot that I do hear at the door, when I'm knocking. And previously tonight, the BPU candidates had their forum, and this is one of the questions they brought up. And one of the candidates, Rose Mulvaney, she brought up a new perspective that I really didn't think about at the moment. The pilot is providing $40 million to the UG. Yes, we need to lower it because it's hard for our citizens already just to pay the BPU bill alone. On top of that is the pilot tax. But we need to find a way because if we were just to outright take out the pilot, that's $40 million we're already short. And we already have, the UG already has budget problems. And that's going to create more problems that we don't need. So what we have to do is how the other BPU candidate said, creating a relationship with the BPU, working together hand in hand, seeing what programs, what can we do to help give some relief to our citizens, but also where it doesn't hurt our budget. And so that we're able to provide the essential services that we provide every single day to our communities.
Ann?
Sure. So one of the biggest concerns I've had in over the decade that I've been a commissioner is I would like to see the unified government, our mayor and our administrator, have a better relationship, a better ongoing, working, intense relationship with our Board of Public Utilities. This is a huge amount of money that our government has become dependent on to provide all of you with the services that you rely on every single day, road repair, snow removal. And to address an issue that's $40 million, we're going to have to work with that other entity to figure out a way, a strategy, a method to begin to lower that pilot. I have never been a fan of a $40 million pilot, and I will not continue to be an advocate for that. Again, what I will advocate for is that the unified government and the BPU develop a better working relationship, come together, and begin to talk about these very large, expensive items that the taxpayer is ending up having to foot the bill for. And really, that needs to come from our mayor and our county administrator to bring those two entities together.
Harold?
It's quite a hot potato. when you talk about pilot, BPU points at the UG points at BPU. And one of the things, critiques that I have of our wonderful county is that we often operate in silos, whether that is BPU, whether it's the UG, whether it's KCCC, whether it's USD 500. I think we need to start having, start tearing down these silos, these walls, and we need to start having transparent, open conversations that are going to be very painful and challenging for us to deal with the real issues. Because as has already been alluded to, if you begin to reduce the pilot, which that discussion needs to be had, then we have to be also thinking about what services are we willing to cut out if necessary. So the same way that we had conversations about the mill levy, about lowering the mill levy, we need to have those same conversations about the pilot. It's going to cause a little tension. It's going to cause some unanswered questions, but I think it should be open. It should be transparent. Anybody that's watching UGTV should be able to see that and be able to respond to that as well. And if I'm reelected, I want to continue to push for that, not only between BPU and UG for the pilot, but for all of our taxing entities. We need to be having more open conversations amongst ourselves to develop solutions for our taxpayers, because at the end of the day, it's our taxpayers that have to foot the bill for all of these related entities. So that's what I would do.
Jorge?
At the NRC meeting, our mayor did state that, we can't have it all. It's either we increase taxes and we get more, or we decrease taxes and, we won't see much. And don't quote me, but it's just similar to what was stated. And it makes sense. If we want a lot of stuff, then we're going to have to pay for it. And in order to get a lot of things done, it's going to cost money. I think that a lot of the conversations, I agree, we need to start having open conversations with the citizens and government to make sure that we're making the most cost-effective decisions, because some people just can't afford a good quality of life in Wyandotte County. So we've got to include the citizens so that everyone has a say. And while we can't keep everybody happy, I think that as long as people know that their voice was heard, that will make a big difference in programs like this.
Angela?
So I think one of the reasons the pilot continues to go unaddressed is it's just a huge number. And saying let's take the pilot away altogether is like saying if you're in a 2-income household that your spouse is just going to quit their job tomorrow and you're still going to have enough money to function. And most of us know that's just not the way it's going to work. So what I've long said and what I'll continue to say, we've always been in this sort of all or nothing attitude. We have to take away a whole point off the pilot or no point. But the reality with both our mills and with the pilot is that we can take off smaller percentages. We can take off 25% or 5% every year. If we'd have started that 8 years ago when I got elected, we'd have made at least a little bit of income impact by now. So I think the answer is let's take some smaller bites. We can't take a whole point off the pilot without impacting our budget in a really severe way. So let's see what amount we can take off the pilot this year. Let's do it, and then let's do it again next year. Is it going to take a long time? It's like putting a penny in your piggy bank every week. Yeah, it's going to take some time to make an impact, but if we'd have started trying to make that impact several years ago, at least we'd have some pennies. So I think that's the best way to start to eat that elephant. I do agree that having discussions with BPU about how that progresses and what that number looks like is the best step. Those communications would help the community as a whole, but I do think we need to stop talking about the elephant and start eating it. So,
Melissa?
I want to, before I answer the question, I want to say to Mr. White that you've been retired 15 years or so, and I would place a bet that every person that lives or works on your mail route still misses you. I'm sure you probably heard that before. I want to make sure I said that because you were a great, great, great mailman. So I also want to know if I can switch places with Commissioner Markley because she keeps saying my answer. What I was thinking about was we knew that we had the Star Bond payoff coming. We also knew that in our community we were seeing increasing valuations of our personal and our real estate property. So we were able to plan for a sustained, smaller mill levy reduction over 3 years, and that's how we did that. We did it because we were watching valuations increase, and we were planning on receiving the Star Bond payoff. So we can take mills off of the mill levy rate because we've got sales tax and increased property valuations to make up the difference. So that is the way we've got to approach being able to, again, I agree with Commissioner Markley, incrementally lowering the pilot, which is too high, and I think every single person up here would agree with that. But we've got to plan for replacement of that tax dollar. So if that is a way to increase sales tax collections by way of a new T-Bones owner that has year-round activity upon which sales tax is collected and remitted, et cetera. We've said it many, many times throughout the times that we've been together during this election cycle. We know that we want to grow our tax base. When we grow our tax base, we can begin to take those incremental steps to lower some of these taxes like the pilot that are extremely burdensome, and we are aware of that.
Okay. Now we'll turn to closing remarks, and we'll start with Melissa.
Well.
You
want to switch places? Thank you all again. Thank you for being here. For those that will watch the program, we appreciate that you've taken the time to tune in. We just appreciate that you're engaged and interested in your local government. I certainly have enjoyed my 4 years, my one term that I've served as an at-large commissioner. As an at-large commissioner, my name's going to be on every single ballot in Wyandotte County on November 5th. My name's Melissa Bynum. I certainly hope that you'll mark your ballot for Melissa Bynum on November 5th, because I think I've shown across this community that I'm committed to the community. I'm engaged with the community. I'm responsive with the community. I come to meetings prepared, and I'm ready to continue serving you. It's been a real pleasure, and I thank you.
Angela?
So it might have come across a little bit this evening, but certainly it does at our regular meetings, that I kind of have one of the drier roles in the commission. I'm a lawyer. I like sort of the boring stuff. I like to deal with the policies. I tend to take on the sort of long-term projects. I like the detail work, and I like to know all the little details of everything that we're involved in. And I think there's an important spot, there's an important role for that type of person on the commission. Not everybody has that personality, but it's certainly mine. I have a reputation for serving on a lot of committees, and again, that goes back to just liking to look at the details and to figure out how all the little pieces of our government can best interact to serve our community. So this has been a really great discussion. It's been an amazing time serving the community so far. The SOAR project and my other sort of little baby projects, they're not done. I still have things that I feel like need to be completed, and I hope that you'll vote for me on November 5th so that I can move those projects forward. Thanks so much.
Jorge?
I appreciate everyone being here today, and KCKC as well, and staff. I just wanted to say that while I am the new face out there, I do bring a lot of passion and energy for service. I am 27 years old, and I would hope that anyone who's out there and who's listening and who's seeing this will get passionate about running for something one day. I think I'd like to see more younger individuals getting involved and working in their community. It's very important right now more than ever, and it's also really enjoyable. Ever since I started my campaign, I said I wanted to make impact every single day, and we've been doing that. We've been working together with neighbors. We've got a lot of things done. We've cleaned up neighborhoods. We've shut down problem houses. We removed illegal dumping, initiated 24-hour graffiti removal. We've started new business and financial literacy courses, and I've started combating homelessness with a lot of the organizations out there. I enjoy mentoring with students and working out there in my community. It's something about service that I just enjoy doing, and I'm going to continue doing it, whether elected or not. I do want to be representative. I want to work for the people, and I think that our people deserve to have representatives that have a lot of energy and that have passion and that truly want to work for them, and who they can call and they'll get a response and they'll be able to talk with them just like a friend. So I hope you can count on me, and vote Flores November 5th. Thank you.
Harold?
Thank you, Merrill, for offering us this opportunity tonight. From the time that I was elected in 2015, I got straight to work, working with my fellow commissioners, Bynum and Townsend, to work on a master plan. There's not been one day that really we've taken off. They tell us when you run, well, it's just a part-time job. That's not true. The pay might be part-time, but the work is oftentimes full-time. And so it takes a lot of passion to do what we do. We've had successes already in 4 years. People said there would never be a master plan. We've done it. It's not going to get done. It's done. There are developments that are going on all throughout, not only the boulevards, lofts that I have already alluded to, but we see Donnelly College has decided to stay in 4th District and in the urban core. The school district is reinvesting and building a new middle school, the Carl B. Bruce Middle School. There's over $70 million of economic development that's going on in the 4th District, and there are things going on around the 4th District that I've been a part of as well. I've got proven results. I'm not one that just talks the talk. I believe in being able to walk it out and show exactly what we can do. We're not done yet. We still have a need for more economic development. We need livable wages, jobs that pay livable wages in the 4th District, in Northeast. We continue to need more housing in Northeast. And so I ask for your vote on November 5th, that you would strongly consider the one that has proven results, that has the experience, that has the focus to get the job done. Remember the name, Harold Johnson.
Ann?
Thank you. I'd just like to continue the amazing progress that we've had in District 3. And in case I failed to mention that, that makes up half of Argentine and all of Rosedale. I can remember when I came on the commission in 2007, I was told by many of my fellow commissioners and people in the community, you will never get a grocery store in Argentine. Not only did we get a grocery store, but we planted that store on a 30-year blighted, environmentally contaminated Superfund site. People said that would never happen. And through the hard work of the people in our community and under my leadership, we were able to make that happen. We didn't just build one grocery store, we built two, a Save-A-Lot grocery store on the same site. We were able to generate tax revenue from those developments and build a brand new South Patrol police station. We were able to help the school district raise $2 million to build a brand new handicap accessible library. When people told us that Rosedale will never have anything in it for retail or services other than the hospital and the med center, we built a $60 million development on Rainbow Boulevard. Then we did a $40 million development on County Line. And then we just finished another $30 million development in hotel space for our ever-growing and blossoming hospital and medical center that is ranked by U.S. News as one of the top 10 hospitals in the United States. In addition to that, my role on the Regents, I was able to pull together an $82 million medical education building in Rosedale. Now, when you go to the polls on November the 5th, what you have to decide is what is the difference between the candidates and what do my values align with? Well, it's been clear to me in the forums I've been with my opponent that he agrees that we've had amazing economic development success, but he would like to see a shift in focus on youth development. I think what my opponent does not know is I was the first, through the not-for-profit I used to run, to start a youth program in Argentine called Argentine Ambassadors. Every summer, we employed 30 kids. We paid those kids $10 an hour to clean up vacant lots, mow grass, remove graffiti. We've advanced that program now to an academic education program where we still bring in 30 kids every summer and pay them $10 an hour. Through dealing with those 30 kids on an annual basis for over 15 years, we were able to interview those kids and say, how can we help you more than what we are? And they said, we want a job. We want an opportunity. We want to learn a skill. We want to learn a trade. We're going to school, but we need some real life work experience. And that was the catalyst to bringing forward these entry-level jobs. We were able to bring forward over 500 new entry-level jobs with opportunity for promotion by building the Walmart, the Save-A-Lot, the hotels in Rosedale, the retail in Rosedale across from Murphy Hall on Rainbow Boulevard, the redevelopment on County Line. No longer do the kids in my district have to catch a bus, be on a bus for 2 hours, drive out to Johnson County to work for fast food for less money than the youth program I started pays them. Youth has always been a top priority in my district. The other issue that has been a difference between the two of us, there were 50 members at the Argentine Rec Center using a blighted, dilapidated equipment facility. You would have seen a better fitness facility on a prison yard, and that's no exaggeration. And today there is a beautiful state-of-the-art fitness center that does not have 50 members. It has 1,500 members attending that fitness center from all over Wyandotte County at an affordable county rate. In fact, the neighboring county in Johnson County cannot compete with that rate. And you're also able to bring your supervised children at no charge. So I will continue to focus on economic development, job creation. We've built millions of new housing that people laughed at us and told us we'd never sell fair market housing in Argentine for $200,000, and we're doing it all the time. In fact, we have none to sell now because there's a waiting list. We have $5.5 million in senior housing that's affordable and run incredibly well. And in speaking with how happy the residents are, I think my opponent testified himself when he ran into the man in Frank Rushton. He said he loves his community. There's no reason to leave. And those tool sheds and those community-based neighborhood resources, they're not only available in Frank Rushton, they're available in Spring Valley, they're available in Argentine. And as I said in the beginning, if somebody in my district out there needs something, they just need to pick up the phone and call me, and I will connect them with the right resource. So please, on November the 5th, to continue the progress with the experience that I have and the success that we've had under my leadership with the cooperation of a number of people, I hope you'll vote Ann Murguia on November 5th.
Christian?
First off, I want to thank, Business West for hosting this again, and KCKCC. It's always great to come back to the community college that helped me get to where I wanted to go. Like I have said, we have seen a lot of great development in this district, but I think we can do better, especially with the youth programming. And my opponent brought it up with the community center. It's great that we do have a state-of-the-art business and a state-of-the-art gym that wasn't there before. But what isn't right is them paying no property taxes, no rent, no utilities. That's the issue. And what the community gets back in return is a discount on rates. That is not what youth development is and community development is. I want to make sure that every child in the district has a safe and welcoming place to go, and that's a community center. I want to make sure that I create programs and initiatives and work with the community center staff, that they have what is necessary, because that's not what we have now. Rosedale doesn't have a community center. A lot of the people I've talked to in Rosedale would want to have one. I told them I would be willing, more than willing, to create like a mobile recreation center program where a weekend out of a month, we find a park, we find a piece of land where we come together, we create crafts, we have different games, so that the children in Rosedale have some sort of a community center. That's what I want to do. Everything that I will do will be community driven. I will make sure I get the input from everybody, and I'll make sure that I'll listen to everybody in my district. So I hope on November 5th that you vote Christian Ramirez for District 3 Commissioner.
Let's give all the candidates a hand.